To provide insights into yesterday's Senate shakeup, we are joined this morning, this time, by Professor Dennis Coronacion, Chair of the UST Political Science Department. Magandang umaga sa iyo.
Magandang umaga, Gretchen. Magandang umaga rin sa inyong mga taga-subaybay.
Okay, Professor, nakita naman natin yung nangyaring kudeta kahapon sa Senado. Medyo nakakagulat nga, no, kung gaano kabilis nangyari yun. Anong pagbasa mo dito sa nangyaring leadership shakeup?
Well, nakakagulat nga, no, kasi we thought that the leadership in the Senate has already been settled since a month ago, ano, pero ito pala napaka-fluid talaga ng mga political alignments sa loob ng Senado. Now, very little data is provided doon sa nangyari kahapon. It's just that kung papakinggan mo yung interview with Senate President Tito Soto, it seems that the initiative came from the minority bloc. Sabi niya, ang tanungin mo yung mga apat ko kasama kasi sila yung nag-initiate niyan. So tapos of course they got the support of the other senators, obviously. Pero kung titingnan mo yung composition, these are the senators who formerly belonged to the majority bloc pero lumipat ng side, and I think during the midterm elections they were identified with the administration, most of them, the Villars, the Tulfos, tsaka iba pa. So ang tanong dito is ang isang parang mystery dito is what made them change their mind. Previously, parang sila sa majority with the former Senate President, Chis Escudero.
Yun nga yung tatanungin ko sa'yo sana. Ano sa tingin mo ang naging trigger point? I mean, it seemed to be, I mean, yun nga po, you mentioned the Villars turning over, the Tulfos, we have Pia Cayetano moving over, bukod doon, parang even JV Ejercito has also turned over. And I mean, what could be the sticking point here, the issue, the reason? Is it probably the contractor associated with the former Senate President? The revelations in that gave everyone the reason.
It's possible, it's possible that the ongoing probe about the corruption in the DPWH involving the contractors and some lawmakers might be responsible for the decision of some of the senators. Kasi nga kilala naman natin si Mark Villar used to be the secretary of the DPWH. And it's possible that he could have been involved. Pwede rin siyang imbestigahan. So that's a change camp, so yung mga ganon, it's possible yung probe. I am also looking into the possible involvement of Malacanang. Oo, kasi nga nagde-deteriorate na yung relationship between Malacanang, especially the cabinet members and the lawmakers. So to avert that deterioration of a relationship, it's we're not sure yet, pero baka posibleng Malacanang might have a hand on this one.
So ibig sabihin they still hold sway over the leadership in the Senate. Yun po ang pagbasa po ninyo.
Yeah, it's possible. Oo, pwede. Although wala pang wala pang confirmation, wala pang end information about this one.
Is it possible that Malacanang was not happy with the way these hearings have been going? Of course, pag tinignan po ninyo, yung revelasyon kahapon ng mga Diskaya, kung mapapansin po ninyo, nasa 2022 to 2025 yung kanilang isiniwalat. Pero yung years before that, they claim that they started seeing success in 2016. Is it possible that that could be the reason for the unhappiness of Malacanang?
Yeah, pwede rin. That's also possible because remember, you're right in pointing out that I think in the previous hearing or 2 hearings ago, parang we were able to find out that this had been going on since the time of the former president. Pero in yesterday's hearing, the focus was in the years 2022 up to 2025. And maaaring pa din natin sabihin, kaya dyan ang naging focal point is because the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is headed by an anti-admin senator, a pro-Duterte senator, si Senator Marcoleta. So we might, it's possible to assume, it's valid to assume that the ongoing probe is being used to tarnish the image of the administration.
Speaking of committees, yung magiging bagong head ng Blue Ribbon Committee ay si Senator Ping Lacson. Kukunin niya ito mula kay Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Paano po kaya sa tingin ninyo magbabago yung pagkumpas dito?
Well, magkaiba kasi sila ng I think magkaiba sila ng approach in terms of holding the committee hearings. Si Senator Marcoleta, ang focus niya at saka yung kanyang yung kanyang approach parang is to highlight the fault ng current administration. I just don't know itong si Senator Lacson if once he chairs this committee kung ano ang kanyang pero definitely he's known for his integrity. He's known for his anti-corruption stand. So I think between the two parang mas kumbaga mas may mas expected na mas maganda yung pagpapatakbo ng hearing ni Senator Lacson. Based on his track record and his on his image.
Anong inaasahan mo ng mga pagbabago? I mean, anong inaabangan mo pala dito sa mga chairmanships? Are you zoning in on some of the committees that would be crucial over how this Senate fares?
Well, there's definitely going to be changes in terms of committee chairmanships. Yan, Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. And then of course, di ko alam kung sino ang ang mag-head ng Appropriations Committee. Pero definitely dito affected 'yan. Pero I think more than the committees, ako mas interesado ako if the current Senate leadership is going to revive the impeachment of the Vice President.
Correct. Kasi ngayon naka-archive siya sa ngayon.
Right, that's right. So, alam naman natin ang stand ni Senate President Tito Soto at the very beginning, nung na-elect siya, he's really bent on pushing for the impeachment trial. So, tingnan natin if that's going to be revived. Ako, tingin ko ma-revive yan under his leadership. And magbabago tingin ko yung decisions ng Senate Impeachment Court kung matutuloy on specific issues.
Okay. Isa sa mga napansin din ng mga tao, ito finally magkakasama na si Senator Bam, Senator Kiko, Senator Risa Ontiveros dito. What do you expect from this bloc?
Well, they're part of the majority now, unlike in the under the previous leadership, divided sila, although the people expected them to be part of the minority. Pero si Senator Bam and Senator Kiko, they joined the majority. And I think the obvious reason for that is they would like to see to it that the campaign promises they made would be fulfilled. Pero ito nagkaroon ng realignment, they're part of the majority now, so there's no that was already been resolved. Kung whether or not kaya ba nilang i-deliver yung promises nila during the campaign period. Think ko mangyayari na 'yon nang hindi nagiging hadlang yung Senate leadership.
Actually, naisip ko rito kasi kumbaga parang naging practical sila dito sa kanilang pagpili nung kanilang Senate President para makuha nila yung mga gusto nilang komite. And nakuha naman nila. And it raises the question of bakit kaya, walang pagpapasalamat dito no sa kanilang pag-assign sa kanilang mga komite. In the same way that it's not just Kiko and Bam but also the other senators. What could have weighed more than that? And being awarded the chairmanships of committees they wanted.
Well, yun na nga I think it's just more than the committees, ano. Kung pino-consider nila, I think it's they may have considered some other factors in realigning, in shifting their allegiance from the previous leadership to the current leadership. Maaring may mas mabigat na dahilan, hindi lang committee chairmanships. Especially if we look into the cases of the Villars, the Tulfos, ako naisip ko baka insofar as the Villars are concerned, baka may kinalaman nga ito doon sa ongoing probe, doon sa corruption involving DPWH, the contractors and the lawmakers. So yun ang nakikita ko doon. Tapos there are some ibang siblings naman, family members, I think nag-hedging sila, no? Yung isang kapatid nandoon sa si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, he continued to support for the previous Senate President. Samantalang yung sister niya naman lumipat sa kabila. So interesting rin yun, even the Ejercitos, the Estradas, yung isa na si JV nandoon sa bagong leadership, samantalang si Jinggoy naman sa lumang leadership. So I don't know, we still have yet to know the exact reasons why they have to pero at the moment ang tingin natin the ongoing probe has something to do with it, and possibly Malacanang might be flexing its muscle already.
Palagay po ninyo, tataas ba ang approval rating ng administrasyon at ng presidente dahil sa flood control probe? Is this going their way? I mean, kahit na pag-usapan po natin kanina na it looks like Malacanang seems to be unhappy with some things. That is your, of course, one of your analyses, no? Tingin nyo, this is helping them, the flood control probe? Because I remember during the time that Senator Chis Escudero was elected as Senate President, usap-usapin din na pagkatapos ng halalan, naging malakas yung Duterte block dahil din sa impluwensyang naipakita nila noong midterm elections. Ngayon, nagbabago na po ba yung ihip ng hangin? Lumalakas na muli itong administrasyon? And is this flood control probe giving everyone sending shivers down people's spines?
Well, we have yet to see the latest survey results from the major survey firms like Pulse Asia, SWS, Okta, and the others. Pero based on the social media reactions, posts, it seems that the ongoing probe, which was initiated, actually, the probe was not initiated by the president, but he was the one who called out the discrepancies in the 2025 budget, as well as yung plight of the common Filipinos during the last month or two months ago na floodings. So he was the one who called out DPWH, yung lawmakers di pa niya pero siya yung nagsabi, para siya naging whistleblower dun sa problema sa 2025 budget, tapos yung kawalan ng hindi pagiging effective ng flood control projects, and it was soon discovered na most of which were ghost projects. So I think pag lumabas na siguro yung mga resulta ng mga surveys, baka favorable to the administration, kasi nga mataas yung support based on mga social media posts, reactions, napakataas ng suporta ng mga Pilipino doon sa ongoing probe. At saka nadidismaya sila doon so far, kasi ang biniblame dito is not Malacanang, kundi yung mga lawmakers, contractors. So Malacanang is spared from mercy. So I expect that once the survey results are out, the president's survey numbers might go up.
Dennis, anong inaasahan mo naman sa House leadership? Kahapon nga, yung kudeta nangyari. Ngayon, we have the House Infracom probe. Do you expect changes in the leadership? Mukhang may lamat kaya yung presidente, yung Malacanang, at pati na rin si House Speaker, with the way things are going. Usap-usapin din yan online, ano?
Oo, kahapon after we saw the leadership change in the Senate, yun yung sumunod na tanong are we also going to see a leadership change in the House? Well, so far wala pang ugong-ugong but there are some lawmakers whose names were mentioned in the Senate probe na parang sila na defensive sila, and it's possible that they might they might ask their own leadership to do something about it. Siguro kapag hindi nakapag-react agad o hindi nakapag-respond agad si Speaker Martin Romualdez doon sa mga nangyari sa Senado, at dumami ang dissatisfied sa kanyang leadership, there might be a possible shake-up. Kaya nga lang, the difference between the Senate and the House is very big. Halimbawa, napakakonti lamang ng there are only 24 senators. So that's why anytime, parang if you're the Senate President, you cannot feel confident. You cannot be complacent. Kasi napaka-fluid ng alignment, realignment dyan sa Senado, given the small number of senators. Pero in the House of Representatives, I think there are 300 plus. So medyo, if you already have more than the majority, parang ang hirap ligawan, mahirap magkaroon ng political realignment. And sa Senado, merong from the very start of the 20th Congress, meron agad challenger na mabigat kay former Senate President Chisa Escudero. Pero dito naman sa House, parang wala namang walang mabigat na challenger sa leadership niya ni House Speaker Romualdez, except of course si Congressman Chanco, Toby Chanco. I think he was one of those whose names were mentioned as a possible challenger
contender. Okay, mukhang aabangan natin yan,
hindi sila ganun ka-level ni Senator Tito Soto.
Well, just like what Congressman Toby Chanco told us this morning, we shall await for the testimonies of those who are about to appear in the House Infocom probe that is coming at 9 in the morning today. So let's see where this will go. Maraming salamat for your analysis and for weighing in with us here on Morning Matters. We have Dr. Dennis Coronacion, Chair of the UST Political Science Department.
Thank you.